Okay, when I say alligator, you say chomp chomp. So alligator, chomp chomp. Alligator, chomp chomp. Welcome, guys. This is Pat here from Asphalt Green's Recess Enhancement Program, or REP. And we're here with another instructional video for you. This game will be called Spark. But before we get into that, of course, we always want to do our safety check before we get in, again, getting into the habit for us, but also for our students. So just make sure that we're remembering to wash our hands both before we play and then after we play for the designated period of time, 20 seconds. And make sure that we are at all times keeping properly social distance and 6 feet away, and reminding the students to do that as well. And making sure that we're trying not to touch our face and that our students know not to do that as well. And keep that in mind for this game as well, where we'll be doing a lot of movements. And then if you cough or you sneeze, as always, do the most natural motion you can and dab right into your elbow when you do. All right, 2 thumbs up if we're ready to go. Okay, so it seems like everybody is ready to go. So again, the name of the game that we're going to be playing is Spark. So what's the name of the game? It's Spark, of course. So folks, Spark is a great game to play with any age group. You can play it in really any space. And the best thing about it, of course, is that it's super, super safe. So with it, you can maintain the appropriate social distance of 6 feet. It's minimal equipment usage for this game. In fact, the way that we're going to play it, you don't have to use any equipment whatsoever. So we are good to go with it. So as always, when we're looking at the game, we want to make sure that we are following the REP model. So that is ready, explain, and play. So to make sure that we are ready for the game, we want to map out our play space and designate a play area for us. So again, just keeping in mind the size of the group that you have and the 6 feet distance between each student. You also then want to remove any items that could pose any risk, or plan around any items or infrastructure that just can't be moved, and creating rules for that. And you always then, of course, want to make sure that you have any equipment that you might need in place, but again, for Spark, you won't need anything at all, so you don't have to worry about equipment for this particular game. And then you want to gather up all the students that you can in an organized but spaced out area, again, keeping 6 feet apart. And you can use attention grabbers for that, and you can reference our attention grabber videos for those, okay? So to get ready on the explain portion of the REP model, we will start off with our attention grabber we've been using throughout this video. So when I say alligator, you say chomp chomp, alligator, chomp chomp, alligator, chomp chomp. Right, so then you can go right into your explanation of the game to the students. So when you are explaining the game, as always, you want to make sure that you are using a loud, clear voice so that everybody can hear you and understand you. You want to make sure that as you're explaining, you are asking specific questions to the students that have to do with the game. So one of the questions that we might suggest you asking during this game is, what do you say, what do you do when the Spark leader says Spark? And then, of course, what you can do while I am explaining the rules in this video, you can follow along on the PDF version that you can find on our website, okay? So let's get ready to play. Before we play, though, of course, we want to make sure that we are explaining the game. So Spark, how do we play the game? So what you would ask all students to do is to pair up and pick a partner, okay? So you want them then standing 6 feet apart from each other. And so what will wind up happening is you'll wind up having 2 lines of students, and each of them will be paired up, okay? So you want to make sure that the pairs are 6 feet apart, and you want to make sure that the people in front of each pair and behind each pair are 6 feet apart as well. For the first round of the game, you can designate yourself to be the Spark leader. So you will tell all the students, I am the Spark leader, and you have to follow my movements. So each pair will be following every movement that you are doing, okay? And then what will happen is you can tell them when you say Spark, at any point, you'll be moving around, and those movements, can be hands up, hands down. You can do a little dance, whatever it might be. When you say Spark, though, everyone needs to sit down. Okay, so the first person who sits down, well, they're the winner. And then what can happen is that the two partners, they can give a Y5, of course, staying 6 feet apart, and then they can swap partners. So they can just go and find somebody else, pair up, and make sure that they're playing with absolutely everybody. Okay? Okay, so your play space is ready. You've explained everything. So now you can play Spark with your students. So again, in order to gather everybody up, just use that old attention grabber. Say alligator. You say chomp chomp, alligator, chomp chomp, alligator, chomp chomp, and you're ready to play. A few things that we like to keep in mind with Spark, just in regards to play, a few useful modifications that you might be able to add in to make the game a little bit more interesting, or just to keep everyone on track with the rules. Just making sure that we're reminding students that they must follow the movements of the Spark leader. So everyone has to pay attention to the Spark leader, nobody else when the game is going, all right? And the Spark leader should continuously do new movements to keep it fun and keep it active. So if you're the Spark leader, you keep doing that. Keep doing new movements. If you feel that another student can be the Spark leader, sure, go ahead, let them be it, give them an opportunity, but making sure that they're consistently doing new movements as well to keep the game interesting. You also want to remind students that the magic word is Spark, and you can feel free to test them using different words. So you could be up there and you can say dart, and then if somebody sits down, well, that's not the game. That's not the game at all. So they have to get back up and keep playing until you say Spark. And as I said, you can switch up the Spark leader, and it's a good way to make sure that everyone gets involved, and it gives the students a chance to practice their leadership skills as well, which is always a bonus. And adding in any extra activity is highly, highly encouraged. So when the students hear Spark and, both folks sit down, whoever might have lost that particular round, maybe they do 5 jumping jacks, 5 squats, whatever it might be, just to make sure that there's even more activity, okay? Okay, folks, so that's Spark. So to finish up, let's just all gather up here. So when I say alligator, you say chomp chomp, alligator, chomp chomp, alligator, chomp chomp. And yeah, thank you guys so much for following along for this instructional video for Spark. Keep your eyes peeled for future videos coming out for different games, different training resources. And yeah, feel free to reference everything on the site. Thanks so much.